Hey, how you doing, everybody? And welcome to another video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can convert your Kobra 3 or your Kobra 3 version 2 or your Kobra 3 Max into an 8-color printer. Okay, so there's some steps that you need to follow. So the first step that I did was to buy the second Ace Pro. Now there's different ways that you can acquire the second Ace Pro. You can just buy the Ace Pro by itself, but as of the latter part of 2025, an Ace Pro right now is costing like around close to $300, which in my opinion, this unit is, they charging too much money for that. The best way for, in my opinion, to go is to buy another combo, which is going to cost you just a little bit more than just the plain Ace Pro, and you will have a printer that you can either keep, and you said, like a single color printer, so that's why you see this Kobra 3 that I got over here. Okay, it's hooked up to work only with one single color, so you can see the spool holder in the back over here. And this other Kobra 3 over here, you can see that the two Ace Pros, the tubes that they come from the two Ace Pros, they come into this Kobra 3 over here. So that's why you notice that the receiver over here is different from this one here. Okay, so yeah, you're just better off buying the just another combo. It's because you get the added bonus of having another printer. Okay, now this is the thing: you got another option. If you buy another combo and you really don't want to have another printer, you can sell the printer and recover some of the investment. So if you don't use the that second printer at all, you can just post it as a brand new printer and just sell it as a brand new printer. So that's another option that you can do. Also, if you want to truly save a lot of money, you don't need to buy a brand new printer, a brand new combo. Anycubic, they got an eBay store with, they sell new printers, but they also sell refurbished printers. And some of these refurbished printers that they sell, they come in different levels. Like you got the regular refurbished one, and you got the refurbished one that they call it like 70%. So 70% of the components, they go, refurbished. And you got another one that's almost new because like 90% of the components, got refurbished, on the printer. So they offer those three different tiers of, buying a refurbished unit. So I purchased this printer as just the regular refurbished, and I think I paid for this printer together with the Ace Pro like $250. Now this is the first version Kobra 3. There's no the version 2, and the same thing goes for this one over here that I purchased brand new. Like I think it was at the beginning of the year. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to do. That's the options that you guys have to acquire, the Ace Pro. Okay, the second one. The other thing that you guys need to do is to print out, the clips that you're gonna use to hold, these tubes together. Okay, all the way until they reach the receiver here. Now, the thing with the clips here is that one thing that I would suggest people to do is that don't print these clips on PLA or even tough PLAs. Just print it with something a little bit stronger. And the best material, to print stuff that is not toxic is PETG, okay, or I call it PETG. So just print this stuff on PETG, whatever color you like, and you should be okay because PETG is really strong. PETG can withstand, high temperatures. So yeah, that's the best way to go. Is just printing this on PETG, okay. The other thing that you guys can do is that once you print the clips and you decide which clips you're going to use, then you have to think about getting the different printer head adapter like the one that I got over here uh to accommodate 8 tubes, so that way you can print in 8 colors, because this is how it looks like from the factory, which is designed to accommodate only 4 colors, and this one is the one for 8 colors. So in my opinion, the best way to go is just to buy this part. Some people, they say, but why gonna buy it? I can just print it and I should be okay. I save the money. But this is the thing. There's three issues that you're going to encounter with that mentality. Issue number one is that if you print the part, okay, you got to make sure that you print this part on a material that is stronger than PLA, okay? Because this thing, is going to go to a lot of stress as this thing, goes up and down, because this part is going to be now handling even more tubes that they're going to create, they're going to put more force on this part. And you use, like a, PLA, probably this part is going to snap or something. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is that remember that every time you print stuff, doesn't matter how good you do are, doing, your settings and everything, there's going to be print layers in the holes inside this part over here. And just remember that this part acts like a funnel, okay? So as the filament goes inside, in and out, because this part is switching the different colors, and it pulls filament back and then it pulls the other filament in. That filament is going to get in contact with, the printer layers inside these holes, and that's going to create issues, okay? I heard people that they said that when they print this part, they had a way to make those holes smooth. I don't know how they can do that, okay? But they claim that they got the ability to do that, but I'm telling you, it's not worth it, okay, to print this part. And the third reason, not to print this part and just buy it is that this part over here is a little bit thicker than this part over here. Therefore, the screws here on this part are longer, okay? You cannot use the fatter screws if you print this part. You need to use longer screws, okay? So you have to get those screws. And when you buy this part, you already come with the screws, okay? And not to mention that you're going to go to another issue, which is the collars. Because, yeah, you can, take these 4 collars, from the factory, piece and put it here. But how about the other 4 collars that you need to secure all the tubes for the second, Ace Pro? You're not going to have the collars. So, look, all I'm going to say is this. If you can afford a 3D printer with the Ace Pro, the combo, and you can afford a second Ace Pro or maybe another printer combo with another Ace Pro, you can pay $15 for this, because that's why I pay for it. Okay, so don't cheap out. If you want to do upgrades in your printer, like you see this printer over here, I did, different upgrades. Yeah, things like that, print it yourself. Yeah, this one, there's some minor upgrades, stuff like that. But when it comes to something like this, nah. Buy the freaking part. Don't cheap out. Okay, so the next step is to connect the once you install the receiver over here, is to connect the 2 Ace Pros into the printer. Okay, so the one thing that you need to do is that deal first with the tubes that come from the Ace Pro that is mounted originally with the printer. So you have to, pass the tubes to this thing adapter that you see over here and connect it to the center holes over here on this adapter. Once you do that, then you can go and connect, the second Ace Pro. Now, as you see here, I'm still using, this, clear, 5-point clips, to keep, these tubes together all the way until it reach, this receiver part over here. And the same thing I did kind of, with the second Ace Pro over here. You can see that I got more of this, 5-point, clips over here. Now, once you do that, then the next thing you have to do is to connect, the tubes from the second Ace Pro. And you can see here, here, and here, I use this S-shaped, clips. So the tubes from the second Ace Pro, they are in the outer perimeter of this whole mess of tubes. And the tubes from the first Ace Pro, they are in the inner perimeter, okay? And this is how you secure them. I mean, at least that's the way that I did. Now I could have used this one and probably the older tubes or this one here, and probably everything would have looked a little bit, you know, neat in comparison with the way I did it here. But to be honest with you, this is the easiest way to go. So you got to print at least like 20 of this. I'm gonna say you're gonna need 20, but print at least 20 of this, so that way you can have enough to do this whole thing the way I did it. Because the way I did it, this thing works just fine. It runs left and right, very free, with no issues, with no binding. Okay, so I think this the way I did it, if it works for me, it's gonna work for you. Okay. Now, when it comes to this area over here, that's when you have to, figure out, how you can secure all these tubes together. Okay, so you see that this part is designed to accommodate only 4 tubes. I've seen people out there that they print out this part that have another 4 set of holes to accommodate all the tubes, and it will probably look nicer. But again, that depends on what kind of material you use. I mean, this material looks pretty, strong. Okay, and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna print this. I'm just gonna secure, this second row of tubes that come from this Ace Pro in a different way. So that's when this part came in. So I put on this area over here. You can see that I put all this, the 4 tubes from this Ace Pro over here. I secured it like that, and then I used one of these S-shape, clips to secure. As you can see right here, I'm securing this row of, tubes with the row of tubes from the first Ace Pro over here, and everything, as you can see, I can go all the way to this side, and everything, stays together. It doesn't, I don't have this other row of tubes, like touching the second machine or something, because sometimes I got the 2 machines working at the same time. Okay, so that's the best way to go, in my opinion. And finally, the next step will be, actually, this is before that. You have to do something about this, orange wire that goes into the printer head. Originally, it was connected to, this, clear, clip over here, because this clip can hold 5 tubes, but you don't use 5 tubes, you use 4 tubes plus this wire here. But I was noticing that, by having this thing connected with that, sometimes it was coming off from here, or sometimes it was coming off from one of these, clips here, or it was giving me some binding, because sometimes this head didn't want to go all the way until the magnet touched, this, pump disposal, bracket over here. So yeah, I said I'm gonna make another of these clips. You're gonna secure, this one over here with, the outer tubes that they're coming from, the second Ace Pro, and everything's gonna be fine. Okay, so now we can move to the final step, which is gonna be connecting the 2 Ace Pros to the printer. So originally, this Ace Pro, the one that's in top of the printer, it was connected to the printer. And also, after I got the second Ace Pro, I still had this printer as, this Ace Pro as Ace Pro number 1, and this one as Ace Pro number 2. But this is the thing, that when you go to the slicer, the order that you got the colors in the slicer, probably is gonna get confusing with the order that you're gonna have the colors in these 2 Ace Pros, because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna do it in a way that it makes sense. So I disconnect this Ace Pro from the printer, and I connect this one directly to the printer. So you can see the cable goes under here. It goes all the way up back onto this Ace Pro. So now this is Ace Pro number 1. And then from this Ace Pro, I connect the cable to this one here. And now this one is Ace Pro number 2. So now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. that's the order that everything works right now, and everything works just fine. Okay, and if you go back here, you can see the connections, the way I did it. Okay, and everything works just fine. I already print, stuff that goes beyond, the four colors, So, for example, I got this Fallout, Vault Void over here, and originally the one that I had before this one, it was printed in four colors. So, and because I printed four colors, I couldn't have this gray, background, and also I couldn't have, the white smile over here. So the smile, I had to print the whole smile in black, and the background over here was in black over here. And I said, nah, I gotta buy another, H Pro and fix that. So now this particular print, I use 6 colors on this print. So as you can see, I got the basic colors of the uniform over here, which is yellow and blue. His hair is blonde. This is a white guy, so he's I used the skin color for his skin, and then I print the background in gray, and his smile in white, the way it's supposed to be. Okay, and you know what? It looks fine. It looks perfect. This is one of the nicest prints that I did. Now this print that you see over here from with the Nuka-Cola, so this thing, it was only 2 colors, so yeah, there was no issues, to having a second H Pro with that. But I mean, it looks nice, So that's the reason why I purchased the second H Pro, so I can print in more colors and things work beautifully. Okay, so hey, this is the end of the video. I appreciate that you guys stopped by over here. And I hope this video is helpful, because I couldn't find videos that teach you how to do the whole process. So I had to figure out all this stuff on my own. Okay, so please don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and thanks everyone. Bye.